I was gonna check as well.
Okay. All right. So we are trying to just troubleshoot some things, and then we'll be reconvening. All right. So,
I am
all right. I think we're back. I think we're back.
I'm checking
I
right
think we're
now.
pretty much back. All right. There we go. Okay. Acosta, can you hear us? We good? What's going on? That's Acosta
There we
Medrano
go.
from the Sick Podcast. The Colts, I'm going to say Sick Podcast Anvil Show. So make sure you guys are tuning in on YouTube. But yes, all right. So we're good. All right. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. Sorry, people, but we're back. So yes. So in other words, just a kind of long story short, only because we already had to, fix some time things. Everybody was pretty, I'm going to say, impressed with the team as it is, with what we saw. I'm going to say on Saturday, in the game. Anthony Richardson did well. Colts first team went well. Um, I mean, if I like what you did there. I like what you did there, Wesley. Good job. But this
Nice
is
plug
this is
there.
Richardson's debut, just troubleshooting and difficulty. But you know what? We persevered. Okay, all right, we did it. All right, we got through that. So now moving forward, because it was then revealed today. I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and let Josh let us know the great news that we heard today. Um, Not necessarily his news because I know that he is very happy. But we're going to talk about the news that we heard from Shane Steichen. Go on ahead and let the people know, Josh, if you didn't know.
As you guys can see, I'm wearing Anthony Richardson jersey, which today it was announced that he's QB1 of the Indianapolis Colts going forward for the rest of the season and for the
Yes,
season.
sir.
So all of us is excited. I'm sorry, Gardner Minshew. He's a great pro. The guy's a class act, man. He took that to his chin. I mean, they're both competing. He thought he had the job possibly, but Anthony. I mean, he won it. He won it. I mean, within the short time he had Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it for the rest of the season. But yeah, he got his name started this morning. I was asleep actually, and woke up and my phone was blowing up. Everybody was sending messages. Hey, he could be one, and so I had to get up and be excited with you guys.
Okay, okay. And then I'm going to say, Harish, now, do we feel like the plan all along was for him to potentially just be QB1 from jump? Or do we feel like just watching him kind of have a little bit more of that poise, seeing him in the preseason game where it's just like he looked a little bit more comfortable. Like, do you feel like this was already a foregone conclusion, or did they kind of need to see him in action first to see if this was going to be the way that they go?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Like, I don't think that was ever the intention to make him QB1. I think, you know, Ballard was very well in his Ballard like ways. I think Ballard felt a certain type of way. I think where it all kind of turned for me personally is hearing Anthony Richardson speak for the first time. When you hear somebody say that your quarterback doesn't get too high or they don't get too low, I think that's a good sign that they feel pretty good about their quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where maybe the tide started turning. There's one throw that in particular that stuck out to me on Saturday that I was like, oh, that's a throw that you should be able to make. And it was that throw over the middle. I believe it was to Kylan Granson on a little post route.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
when you make throws like that over the middle, and especially after the bad pick that he threw, which I think he knows, which honestly, right? Uh, McKenzie runs the wrong route. He's starting off his back foot. Should he have done something different? Sure, whatever. But The ability
Yeah.
to, again, not be too high, not be too low from that, and make a throw like that, I think just shows. I think that's probably what quote unquote seals the cat in the bag. And again, they were very straightforward from day one. He didn't have the college exposure. He has a skill set, but hasn't had the ability to use it. He's got to play, and I think that's, as things turned out. I think his off field really showed what they were looking for in order to make this decision.
Yeah, and like I think one thing that they've always talked about is his attitude on a play by play basis. It's just like we saw that he's ran for touchdowns in practice, and then he's come back and he may have made a mistake in practice. Like I think it was the first pick that he threw, and they say it's just like he goes on a play by play basis. So he's not taking these plays and just saying, I need to score a touchdown here in order to feel better, or if I throw an interception here, then I need to make up for it. He's going on a play by play basis, and that's the biggest thing that they've talked about with him is the fact that the attitude with him is, I'm coming here to work, I'm coming here to learn, and no matter whether it's good or bad, I'm going to take something away from it and I'm going to get better. And and then going to you, Austin, now talking about Richardson and how we've seen this. We've seen the progression from him throughout camp. We went from not hearing a single thing about him during rookie mini camp. I think we saw him dance more than we saw him actually do anything in rookie mini camp. But now we get to see exactly what it is that he can do. So I know that Saturday was like a small sampling, but do you feel like what we saw on Saturday is the plan they have to use him, or do you feel like there's a much bigger scheme that they have for him when it comes to the offense?
I feel like there's a bigger scheme. I don't think you put out everything in preseason. I think it's just kind of getting the team's feet wet. I think that was just a small little bit of what we'll see from him this year.
Yeah. I'm going to say, and one thing that I'll say I'm very, very happy about is that it looks like the offense or what they've drawn up for him scheme-wise is something that's going to help him just not really just be thrown out to the wolves. You have Anthony Richardson, who we know that he's talented, athletically, he's a freak, but at the same time, one very, very underrated aspect of Richardson's growth and his evolution in this is going to be Shane Steichen. When we had Pat on here a few weeks ago, he just talked about the fact that Shane Steichen don't talk about nothing but football when he's in that building.
Yep.
And a big thing about him is that he's just a football nerd. He's making sure that he's getting the most out of everything. He's making sure that he's being not analytical, because we know that analytics is a word that we would never want to hear in Indianapolis ever again. Thank you for that, Frank Reich. But
Thank you, Potato Head.
that's but that's something. But you have somebody like Shane Steichen, where he's coming in with a rookie quarterback that, if I had to liken this to something, and I'm not saying that it's the exact same situation, but we saw kind of Tua's evolution last year with Mike McDaniel, having somebody who's an offensively minded coach, who's able to coach him along in terms of being able to coach those quarterback tendencies, and also just having him in an offense where he can go ahead and utilize those weapons. And here you are with Anthony Richardson, who, I mean, you basically, and I'm not going to say project because, our friend of the podcast, Jane Boyd, used that. He said he regretted that, so we're not going to say that. But you have somebody who you ultimately know is just young and is just soaking everything up. So I think the one thing that we're overlooking with Anthony Richardson is Shane Steichen there, just making sure that he's probably going to put him in the best chance to, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb.
Don't do it, Chris. Don't do it.
Oh no! What are you about to do?
Don't do it, Chris.
Oh God!
Go ahead.
Listen,
Go ahead.
Control yourself. Don't get
Anthony
too high.
Richardson.
Don't get too low.
Anthony Richardson will be top 3 Rookie of the Year votes.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay.
Who do you think's gonna win it? Because I know who I think's gonna win it.
Well, we already know you got the guy from Atlanta. So.
Well, Jesus.
Yeah, we already know you got it.
Oh, it would be a Longhorn. Jesus.
I'm just saying.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you didn't start out Madden playing with them guys.
I actually thought about a Madden franchise with the Falcons.
You did, I recall you saying that.
Yeah. It's a good team to rebuild with.
So-
by the way.
West V said Colts should trade Minshew back to the Jags for a case of Rad Burgers.
Take them.
Damn.
I actually like Gardner. Let's talk about Gardner Minshew real quick. I like Gardner Minshew. I think
Yeah,
this
he's
is-
good.
we can kind of take a second because I said it in a tweet a few days ago. I'm on the Gardner Minshew fan club.
Yeah, me too. Minshew Mania, baby. On the sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said going to have his hands. Fragrance said that Anthony Richardson's going to have his hands full with Chicago's pass rush.
That's
Said
fine.
with 0 weapons, good luck.
What pass rush? They got a pass rush? They lost.
Yeah.
I guess so.
They lost their. We have their pass rush.
They said that. Okay, so this guy just said that Peter Skoronski's winning Rookie of the Year.
You can't
Okay,
even spell
listen.
Skoronski.
Peter Scroats. There you go. All right,
Yeah.
but no, but low key, if we can be completely honest, like Gardner Minshew, he's somebody that you can kind of make fun of if you don't know really who he is. But like now that he's been here, all the interviews, everything that he's done, it's just like his attitude is like, when I get in there, I'm gonna ball out. But if I'm
Right.
not, I'm gonna be supporting whoever's gonna be there. And I think that
Right.
aspect and that relationship with Anthony Richardson is also just very underrated because he's not having to compete with somebody, even though it's a competition.
Right.
Like I think it's more of like a friendly competition, or more so just like like this is what we're gonna do. Like we're competing, but you can clean this up if you need to. Like I think there's a lot of pieces in place to make sure that Richardson is successful. But I think the dynamic that they have right now with Steichen, him, JVC, because saying Jim Bob's whole name just feels weird.
I can't believe you guys started this podcast and did not bring up that play when he ran over that cornerback.
Oh, so here's the thing. I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to see it often.
No,
I do.
I don't.
No,
Here's the thing.
no.
You know where I saw it a lot? I saw it a lot like 10 years
Eventually.
ago.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah,
I
you're
don't.
right.
And now we have Anthony Richardson. I don't look. It's
Yeah.
a cool play.
Well, the thing is, I'm sorry, but he did say he kind of bulk up for those type of things. But I get what you're saying. Though. Like you don't want to see it as often. You don't want to see it
Yeah.
your quarterback giving hits or taking hits as often as you did on Saturday. So I get it.
I think there's a difference because our offensive line was dog doo doo.
Yeah.
But and this one, the right side of the line, I have no idea what's going on there. But the left side of the line looked solid. I'm very, very,
We're on the
gives
same
me
page.
Andrew Luck
We're on the same
flashbacks
page.
all over again. Yeah.
We're on the same page with the offensive line. I know we mentioned the other day about why not switch Braden to guard because that's his position he played in college. But I know people are going to say if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? But why not experiment with that, knowing that he can play that position and put Freeland or Fries at right tackle. But I mean,
Blake, did Freeland play right tackle at Northwestern? He's a natural tackle, right?
Yeah,
he played
played
guard
right
the
tackle.
other day. Yeah.
He's listed at
So he's played a little bit of everything for the most part. So the thing is, I'm of the mindset that I also do not want to see Anthony Richardson running over anybody. Not only that, but can we please not be like the Titans fan base where they love to see Derrick Henry stiff arming people? And meanwhile, he's basically just stiff arming cornerbacks all the time.
Yeah.
Like to
Well,
me, it's just like it's just
he did,
it's
well, he did get Darius Leonard one time.
no but that's the thing. It's not like he stiff armed Darius. He didn't stiff arm Darius Leonard. He ran with a full head of steam into Darius Leonard, and then he actually ended up not getting any yards after he did that. Like, can we please, for the love of God, not glorify somebody? And mind you, Anthony Richardson is 255. I'm pretty sure I'm about 190. He can run me over because he has a 65-pound advantage if I'm playing corner.
Right.
I mean, he's going to be running me over, period. But
Yeah.
like, like let's not glorify this. Like, let's not be them. I don't want to be them. Okay, like I don't want to be like, oh yeah, here's his highlight reel, and then he has 24 stiff arms with 23 of them being on cornerbacks who are under.
Yeah.
We should suspect him run the ball out though.
I don't want to expect him to run the ball.
No. So the thing is, I don't expect him to run the ball a lot, but I expect them to do a lot of the read option stuff, a lot of maybe the fakes, option plays, period, where you're going and then you're flipping the ball out, where you're going and you're faking it for play action. Like you want to be able to have somebody like that who you have to account for at all times, because that's going to open up a lot of things. That means that you're going to have somebody who's going to be spying at all times. You're going to have somebody who's basically just going and roaming in those areas to make sure. So defenses aren't going to be able to just come out, have a 4-man rush, and then have a blitzer, and then have 2 linebackers. Because if you have Anthony Richardson in the backfield and he's controlling the offense, you can't just play a vanilla defense and be successful.
So, and I get this is all about Anthony Richardson. I do want to go back real quick, and I want to talk about, and this is probably a hot topic. I have concerns, right? Alec Pierce, Anthony Richardson threw that ball probably as perfect as you can throw it, right?
Yeah.
And this is what listen, I'm just reading what's on Twitter, on X, on Twitter, on the platform that is run by that guy.
Twitter.
Alec Pierce is going to get really mad and he's going to do much better. I could probably count on one hand how many times I heard that last year, and I didn't see a lot of improvement. I'm concerned about Alec Pierce. I'm not saying he's going to get cut or anything, but this, to me, I'm seeing it as you're only going to have so many opportunities to impress your head coach for the first time, and I'm concerned there. So I'm going to overreact, right? I'm concerned about Alec Pierce. I don't know what to expect from Alec Pierce, so I'm just curious what you guys think.
I'll go Austin. Austin, you can. Because the thing is, I know, like we've talked about Austin. We've talked about Alec Pierce before, and I know I have an opinion on it, but I know that Austin also has like some things that said about Alec Pierce in the past.
So I'm personally kind of high on Alec Pierce. That was a pretty bad drop. He has to come down with that. But it would have been a tough catch because the defender was draped all over him.
Right.
And we've seen him go up and catch balls against defenders last year and in camp. And I know it doesn't mean anything if he doesn't keep improving, but I mean, I'm just not too worried about him. I think he's a solid wide receiver too. But yeah, I'm pretty high on him.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I'm of the same mindset. I think everybody on this team kind of has like a certain thing that they do really well. Like Alec Pierce, to me, is just like he's that guy who's like a low key burner in a way. Because I mean, for him to be like 6'3.5", 6'4", and have the speed that he has, I think that's gonna be like a big mismatch when he goes against those smaller cornerbacks who are gonna probably like just be deceived by his like just start off speed.
Yeah.
To me, if I'm being completely honest, looking at that play, if I'm looking at that play and let's just say it's Alec instead of Alec Pierce in that spot, it's Michael Pittman. We know that Michael Pittman can make the tough catches.
Yep.
We just know that they really just bastardized the whole entire offense last year because the O line was bad and they really couldn't get any time for progression at all. I think that everybody is going to find their role when it comes to this offense. But I just think that that one was just a play where should he have caught it? Yes. But I'm not going to completely condemn him for not because the cornerback played it extremely well also.
Okay. I think that's fair.
So yeah, I'm not worried about Alec Pierce. I think like I said, he's a second year receiver who, and mind you, if we're talking about the fact that that Michael Pittman has played with X amount of quarterbacks, then we also have to talk about the fact that Alec Pierce literally played with 3 quarterbacks in his rookie season.
Fair enough. Touche.
So I mean, like I said, I think he's going to build that camaraderie with him. I think honestly, at some point or another, we're going to see like a really good spread offense if this line can actually, hold up for a good amount of time.
I think that's the other reason, just to tie that back to the conversation we're having. I think that's the other reason why it's good internally that they went ahead and named AR QB1. Because now you don't have to worry about somebody breathing down your neck, or whether it's meant to be or not, or whether it was a real competition or not is irrelevant. The fact that AR can like for the next 3 weeks, right, focus on being the guy, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think it's trial by fire, but once again, it's just like I'm not worried about Richardson because he's came in with a mentality that says, "Listen, I'm working my ass off, so you're going to get somebody who's going to come in and just continue to do the work." So that's just where we're at now. I hate to go and take us to a place that we just don't want to go to. But we got more JT news. JT news now is that he was back in practice. All according to Stephen Holder. He was back in practice. His stance is still the same that he wants to be traded. And Irsay's stance is still that he's not getting traded. So, with all that being said, a couple things we know for certain that JT also made a couple comments that he didn't want to come back until he was 100%, and rightfully so because if he comes back at 100%, well, then that means that he potentially be off the pup list, which means that he's either going to be practicing or they'll be exploring a trade for him. But either way, it's just like it seems like it'll be more along the lines of practicing. So I'm going to say now that we've seen how things are going with JT. I mean, what right now is like the belief, because we've been kind of all over the place with the JT news, and we know that Irsay said that there's no way in hell that that's going to happen. But what's an actual reality of what could be going on? I'm going to say with JT, or what could be happening within the next few weeks. And I'll take it to you, Harish, because I want to put you in an awkward spot.
I don't think any of it matters until JT gets healthy. Honestly, to me, I'm going to stop listening until 2 things happen. Number 1, JT gets healthy and he passes a physical, which he still hasn't done. And number 2, he gets a new agent who isn't Walmart DJ Khaled. Until those 2 things happen, I think this is just going to be what it is, right?
Back and forth,
It's going to be a circus, clown show, whatever you want to call it. Irsay is not the guy to back off. JT's just going to keep telling him what his agent keeps telling him to say because that's the type of person. That's what I've learned about JT. He is I am a whatever somebody tells me to do type of person. He's just basically regurgitating what his agent says. And his agent, in my opinion, played his cards with that first tweet that he had. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay. So then I'll and you know what? I'm gonna open this up to both you, Josh, Josh and Austin. So we thought that we might see some type of resolution to this point, but we're still where we are right now. Now, curveball. Anthony Richardson has been named QB1.
Hmm.
So now that he's been named QB1, do you guys, and like I said, you can go in whatever order you choose, but do you feel like now that he's been named QB1, there's now going to be an emphasis on, and mind you, we just signed Kenyon Drake, who Kenyon Drake is pretty decent, but he's not a he's no JT.
There's no
But
JT. Yeah.
do we feel like there's a little bit more of a pressure now to sign JT now that AR has been named QB1?
I don't think there's more pressure. I think it would be dumb on JT's part to continue to hold out, because I think at the end of the day, is the longer he holds out, or if he's hurt, can't pass a physical, that's just more money that he's not going to get paid, whether it's by us or by somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I don't think it's any pressure because I mean, Ursay said what he said, and that's it. That's that. I mean, yeah, we know what Chris Ballard said, recently, but I mean, nothing says that they're going to sign him to extension. So their stance is what it is. I mean, they don't want to pay him too soon and pay him overpay the market value for him. So I still see him in a uniform. Week 1 or week 2, or like I said, podcasts ago, I said, it'll be panned out by week 5. That everything will be smoothed out. That he'll be happy. He'll see the team is gravitating to the quarterback, and he want to be a part of it, and he's going to be exceptional. So I mean, I really didn't put too much stock in it after the whole trade request. I didn't put any stock in after that because I feel like this is not the first player that done this for the Colts. Ken Moore did the same thing. It wasn't as drawn out like it is with JT because simple reasons it's the agent speaking too much. But since then they said everything has been okay, cordial. Everything's been nice. Everything's been good, okay. Since then, everything he just went rehabbing and he's coming back. He's still gonna be on Publix until he practiced, like Harish said, pass the physical. I mean, like I said, some people had this theory that he's on Publix until he get a contract and then he get off of it and then he practice. I think that's BS. I don't think that's why he's on. That's why he's waiting. I don't think that. Yeah, that's stupid.
I just don't think he's healthy. I honestly don't think he's healthy. Like if he can't pass, I'm just gonna believe in my owner, believe in my GM for this 1 second. I just don't think that they would come out and say that he hasn't passed a physical if he was healthy. That just doesn't make sense to me.
And
now,
they tried to get two running backs.
Maybe it just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, you're right about that because they did try to go get Kareem Hunt. From the reports that we saw that they offer more money. Don't know the details of that. He left without a contract, but for them to go to get 2 running backs in almost 3 days, something tells you that JT is not healthy. And I want him to be healthy. Like today, they said he want him at 400% before they can do anything. So it shows you that he's not healthy. So that should tell you right there that with Kareem Hunt coming in, and we got we picked up Kenyon Drake. We got the young running backs and Deion Jackson and Evan Hall. So I mean, I don't know.
No.
Maybe he'll be ready by week 1. I don't know. Really don't know.
I honestly don't know if they believe in those other running backs. To be honest, maybe Deion Jackson. But I don't know if they believe in Evan Hall and Kenyon Drake maybe, right? But also. Maybe this is the non-bargain bin Ballard doing his one little sneaky move for the year where he's like, hey, I'm going to go after Kareem Hunt, and if Jonathan Taylor comes back, I've got 2 fantastic running backs. Maybe took his vitamin C or something. I don't know.
Like, the craziest part about like the running back move is that like I feel like based on what we saw on Saturday, Hull and Jackson actually did pretty decent. Like, I think they did really good. I think those are guys that you absolutely want in a running back committee per se. But the one thing that I will say is that neither of them, even in a running, because the thing is like, and this is purely my opinion, but in a running back committee, there is a guy who is clearly the guy, right?
Right.
And the problem that we have with that is Jackson did well, Hull did well, but the thing is, neither of them to me did well enough to just go ahead and submit and say this is going to be our leadoff guy because
Exactly.
he's going to be the one who's going to be able to go out there and just like you have the guy that just sets the spark, and
Yeah.
then you have those that second and third guy that pretty much just fan the flames and do what they can. But I think Jonathan Taylor is always going to end up being like that spark, and I don't see Kenyon Drake being that spark. I mean, I can see Evan Hull. Evan Hull's doing really well. Deion Jackson, he knows the team, he knows how to play, but he's another guy who just like he's to me he's not that spark. Like you really need somebody like a JT to get things going. Because if JT wears down those offenses, especially with Evan Hull is probably he's a good mixture of having speed, but then also having a little bit of that power back to him too. And imagine you have teams who are gassed from trying to chase after Jonathan Taylor all day, and then now you have to go up against Evan Hull, who's gonna have like that sneaky power to just go ahead and just knock you off your feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean that's where I am with that. But somebody who has something to say about the Jonathan Taylor situation in but so many words, Chris Ballard. So he made some comments today, and in true ambiguous Ballard fashion, um, he said a whole lot of something that you really can't decipher anything from. Basically, just alluding to the fact that first and foremost, he's rehabbing. Um, we want him to be 100% before he comes back, and basically just giving us a whole lot of nothing. Um, we've had Ballard for going on about 6 years now, about 6 years, and we I mean, I can say for me, kind of can see when he's saying things like if for some reason he's being, 100% about something or if he's trying to hide something. I'm gonna say, can you all agree that he just has those moments where you're just looking at him like, what are you not saying?
He does
Um,
this all the time. He does this to us all the time, really. I mean, we should know this by now that he's not going to
yeah,
ever say something straight up. He's always going to dance around every damn question.
yeah,
So,
he is. But I do think I think Ballard really I genuinely think Ballard really likes Jonathan Taylor.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's one thing. But I also so Ballard is interesting in the way he speaks because he speaks in a way where it sounds like he's beating around the bush, but then when you look at things at the end of the day, this is really what he means, and I think it's like the demeanor in which he says things. Like
yeah,
like for example, when he talked about free agency and the draft and all that nonsense, right? He said it in a
yeah,
way that's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm not going to go overspend and blah blah blah. And Colts fans are like, oh yeah, we're going to go spend all this money, and he actually doesn't do it. The quarterback situation, a stupid quote that he says, right? My time here doesn't start until I draft a quarterback. Like I
yeah,
literally think he believes it. Like I think he says things in a way that just he comes off in a way where it's like, uh, he's trying to be facetious, but I truly do think he believes these things.
yeah. But the like it's we like the problem that we've had is, and thank you Jeremy for that. We appreciate you. Viewing faithfully, definitely awesome. Um, but the issue that I have with it is the fact that he's been with us long enough, and we've seen enough of these pressers. We've seen enough of these conferences where we know when he's just like he's only giving but so much, right? So we know when we're getting 60% of the story. We know when we're only getting half of what's really going on. And if we're being completely real, this is the very first time that we've had um, this is the first time that we've had him say anything about Jonathan Taylor since the whole Jonathan Taylor thing started. Ballard hasn't said, we haven't had Ballard saying a word. We've had Ursay saying things. We've had Colts media, all Colts media talking about it. We've even had Ed Dodds talking about it. But we've never, ever heard anything from Ballard talking about it. And I think when it comes down to it, that's intentional. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure that no matter what's going on with Ursay and JT, I'm pretty sure Ballard's back there trying to work things. And we go back to some of the quotes that he says. He says, "I want to sign my own guys," right? But
Yeah.
then he also says, "When we have a number, that's what we stick to."
Yep.
So the thing is, it's like, is there a happy medium between we sign our own guys and when we have a number, we stick to it? Like, is there anywhere like that where we're looking in between that looks like Jonathan Taylor is going to be signed for slightly more than Ballard would look at paying him, even though he's his guy?
I will say that I think the one thing that stuck out about that is JT needs to be 100%, which to me says he's
Yes.
got to
Okay.
pass a
Yep.
physical. And
Yep.
that's the one piece of what he said where I was like,
Oop.
Oh.
All right.
Well.
So we're gonna wait for Harish to get himself back together. But Austin and Josh, what are your thoughts on everything, Fred?
I mean, yeah, I'm on the same page as y'all. This first time we're hearing Chris Ballard talk about Jonathan Taylor since the whole situation started. We know he says he pays his guys, like you said. I feel like if he has to go over his number, I feel like some people are worth it. And I feel like Jonathan Taylor's one of those people, especially we've all said having AR as a starter. I feel like him and Jonathan Taylor could do some damage. And I just feel like he's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we feel like he's absolutely worth, like, we feel like he's worth 16 million. But we also know that he's fighting against a he's fighting against a market right now that says that no matter how talented you are, no matter what you can do, you're not going to get the amount of money that you should be getting. But you should accept this discounted amount of money because of the job that you do. And that's the part where, for me, I mean, let's just be completely honest. It's completely messed up. And it's a
Yeah.
screwed up thing that you have people who contribute so much to the game, who you have guys who are out here getting, you have people who are out here getting, I'm going to say, helping you win games, getting you yardage. Like, if it was kickers stating that they wanted 16 mil a year, I'd say you're off your rocker.
Yeah.
But the thing is now, the nature of the position says that you're not worth your production. And then, God forbid, you actually go and you go out there and you get all these extra yards, you do all this, and then you get hurt doing it. Now that's a knock against you. And to me personally, it's just like, it's a screwed up system. It's a system that I think absolutely needs to be changed. But this is where we're at right now. So, I mean, I will say, and Harish, I want you to go ahead and finish what you're saying, because you got mid, and then you were gone. You are muted, sir.
my computer just automatically updated. I apologize. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, the one thing that Ballard absolutely, we talked about how the way he says things, but you have to take certain things truthfully, right? The one thing that he absolutely said in his statement was the first thing that needs to happen is JT needs to be 100%. He literally said that. And I think it's intentional that he said that. And I don't think anything moves, whether he gets traded, he comes back, he practices, he plays, he gets paid. I don't think anything happens until he gets 100% healthy and he passes that physical. Because he can't be traded unless he's healthy anyway. So it's irrelevant until that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. So, all right. So then, like I said, and I don't want to keep on guessing every week when he's going to come back just for him to not come back that next week. So hopefully, by not guessing, he'll actually come back next week. But
let's say he came today though. Let's say he came back today.
No, we're not back.
Well, yeah. Well, it's 9:30 at night, so I don't know if he's going to come back today.
Well, I mean, you know what? He just might.
Maybe he'll go sit on the field. I don't know.
Yeah, could.
You saying come back full? Like you come back healthy, or you talking about come back to practice?
Come back to practice.
I thought he said today. I thought I read something either today or yesterday that
he was physically at practice, but he didn't.
He was at practice the way that he was at practice. You know, the past few weeks.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
he was there, but he was just in his hoodie and all that stuff.
It's hot as hell outside.
Yeah. Actually, it's not hot. It's about 77 degrees. I don't know what it's like in Indiana though. Like
77.
Pretty nice.
Oh wow.
It's 77 nice. Here.
Oh nice.
Yeah.
Well,
102.
It's 82 right
102?
now.
Yeah, it's 102.
Now?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Well, yeah, we 82 right now.
Texas.
Yeah, I have a nice cool breeze outside.
Must be nice. Yeah, I have a nice cool breeze. It's called the air conditioner.
There you go. No courtesy of Greg. But yeah, so with that being said, guys, that brings us to the end of this week. We will be back next Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Central, where we will be here recapping the whatever news happens in the week, and then also be recapping the Chicago Bears. I believe that's a Saturday night game.
7 o'clock, yeah. 7 p.m.
7 o'clock. All right. So with that being said, guys, where can the people find you guys on social media or anywhere for that matter?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Cookie Austin 2.
I don't know what X is, but you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at the Uncle Gandhi. Also find me Thursday nights on the Longhorn Fan Battle podcast and Sunday nights on the
Boo the Longhorns. Boo the Longhorns.
Josh.
As of week 2. As of week 2. No. Support the Longhorns. Support them. They got our boy Arch over there. I heard he could be starting.
Well, yeah, you probably need to get. That's why you don't use X and you use Twitter.
But yeah, you can find me on Twitter.
Where can the people find you? I was about to say, it's just like, sir.
find me on Twitter at Official Josh Senior.
At Fishing Josh Senior.
Official Josh Senior. Official.
Okay, gotcha. Official Josh Senior is a turncoat since he's a
Yeah.
Cincinnati Reds fan now.
Let's go. Wrigley.
Gosh.
Yeah, he's muted. I muted him. I'm not doing this. He's a Yankees fan, okay? He's a Yankees fan. All right, you're unmuted, Josh. You got anything to say?
F the Yankees.
Oh, no, you're muted again. You're muted forever. We need to find a fourth. By the way, we'll be holding auditions for Josh's spot since he wants to be a turncoat. But you can find me at CJ Colts fan. Like I said, just make sure that you are following us on Facebook at HorseShoe Mob, AFC South Fan Battle. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. But Elon Musk, whatever. But make sure that you're following HorseShoe Mob on Twitter, following all the guys. And with that being said, people, have a great rest of your week. Have a good weekend. It's supposed to be really hot out there, so make sure you stay cool. And once again, as always,